Okay. Then I edit. 哇，我那天睡醒了，我在想，我们你还没有 plan 咯，我 anxiety。嗯，我们不是不另外一个了咯，我办的，还没有进吗？这个有点小 challenging。Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the webinar. Let me see anybody. Right. Let's see. Where are we? Hello, Erwin. Good to see you today. My name is Kelly, and well, you are very, very punctual. It's 2 minutes more to 8 o'clock. I'm seeing new names. I'm seeing more people coming in. So let's give it like probably we'll start at 8:05. Okay, by the way, good evening. My name is Kelly, and I am your speaker for today to allow you to learn more about Pinery so that we can, see where we can come in to help you guys. So as we wait for more people to come in, I'm going to play some music at the back, probably give it another 5 minutes more, all right? Nice song. Can hear or not? With the music, okay. Hey, Joshua, welcome back. I'm We're gonna start another 6 minutes more, okay? Because 7:59 now. Let me know if the music is too loud. Okay, so a little tip for you guys if you are new to my webinar. I highly encourage you to use your laptop or iPad if you can, because there's going to be a lot of numbers that we're going to show later. Example, all these numbers. And if you're actually using the smaller your handphone, you may not be able to see all this clearly. So I highly encourage now that you have some time, if you are using mobile phone, change it to an iPad or a laptop. Okay, that's 4 more minutes and then we're going to start, all right? 4 more minutes. 我觉得我以后我们 introduction 可以坐在这边聊天先。Yeah, I think not bad, huh? Okay, I've just messaged a few of my familiar people who hasn't been in. So they are already trying to lock in and come in. So much appreciate for your patience. We have a couple of you here. We're waiting for the rest of them to come in, all right? So they're trying to lock in now. Hello, Rachel. It's good to see you. Good evening. So we're going to start in another 3 more minutes just so that we can end punctually by 9:30 latest. Yeah. So while we're waiting for the rest, good evening. Once again, I'm the speaker for today. I'm Kelly. If you have been with me for many of my webinars, you know that we do a lot of numbers here. Therefore, if you're using a small screen, highly encourage you to use iPad or laptop so you can see more numbers as we go along. Concurrently, it's also my pleasure to share with you that we have spent like many days preparing this for all of the webinars. So if you are one of the investors thinking of investing, you definitely has come to the right spot because we will present to you all the possible pros and cons that you want to take note of for every project. And then the reality is that there's no perfect project. Looking at River Modern, that I'm very excited about. It has already been launched and over 90% sold just at the first launch. So some of us are still on the defense, thinking about maybe there will be another good opportunity coming up. I won't be able to tell you which is really the best project to buy. But at least before you decide to take the plunge, you have run through all the possible plus and minus of each development before you see what you want to enter into. Okay? And we're going to start in another 1 more minute. Half a minute more. Have you taken your dinner, Rachel? So we see a new few faces today. Hi, Erwin. You can actually look at the chat box because I do text messages inside. And we also have participation for for some of the activities in this webinar. So Erwin, hi, and Joshua, hi, and the rest pretty much familiar faces. All right. Okay, we're gonna start because the rest of them are already in the midst of coming in. So my name is Kelly and good evening to all of you once again for the I don't know how many times. Today we're going to talk about Pinery, one of the project that the very first launch in OCR, I mean the first launch was in Nara and then now we are in Pinery. And if you haven't really understand, where is Nara, it's one of the current lowest price OCR development in the dairy farm area where it covers a very generous space for 3-bedder and 2-bedder and very are good for own stay, and some of them is for investment, like for rental. Nara is also one of the group projects. But today we're not going to discuss too much about Nara because we're going to talk about Pinery. If you guys are keen to understand more about Nara, feel free to reach out to me at the end of the seminar, and then I will, take it offline with you. Pinery Residence is the very first mixed development that is launching in Tampines West MRT. And disclaimer as usual, everything that we're going to share with you right here is based on my own analysis and research. Should there be anything that you need to run through with me or you didn't have clarity about, feel free to reach out. And as always, I will be there to answer your queries. And as a buyer, I want you to take this moment to ask yourself, what are the concerns that you guys have as a buyer? Would it be the entry price? Or would it also be sometimes you are not too sure whether you are buying at a high or not? Will there be a chance for you to exit in future and etc.? So we do have quite a fair bit of y'all over here that I'm seeing that you guys are also buying for investment. So I might also say that as a buyer, most of the concerns that you guys might be having is, are you actually overpaying for Pinery? Will the EC sellers be the competitors in future? Because if you have done a bit of research, you would have realized that Pinery is situated at a location where there are ECs coming up, whether it's at the Tampines East area or the Tampines area. There are going to be ECs coming out, and Orel is going to be the very first EC to TOP. I mean, before that is Tenet, which is actually the best layout you should be choosing. Should you be considering for 2-bedder or 3-bedder, right? And of course, which stack is most important to choose for most profits or gain. We will be running through with all of you here today in these few different topics. And very, very importantly is how can we identify the sweet spots in this project as a buyer, no matter if you're buying for own stay or no matter you're buying for investment. The key thing you want to know is, I want to know what is the sweet spot to enter so I don't end up paying at a high. So before we get down to that part, let's talk about the project information briefly, because later on at the end of the seminar, Joey is going to share with you about the project details and also what are the things that you should look out for pertaining to the development itself aesthetically. So this Pinery is approximately 588 residential units with an approximate of 60 units of retail and restaurants. It's seated at it's a mixed development, so you're gonna have like residential on top and commercial space below. And also there's going to be a 474 car park lots, inclusive of 4 lots, 4 accessible lots and wheelchair, electrical vehicle lots. Okay, other than that, there's also commercial car park at 164. Not so many because it's not a very big mall to begin with. It's a sizable mall, I might say. If I have missed this out, actually they have catered for this childcare at the bottom as well. Perfect for families who are thinking of, I'm just going to buy this for permanent long-term holding. I want to put my kids there and everything is within reach. I think this development does provide childcare. If you have not been clear about where it is right now, Pinery is situated over here, right 3 minutes walk to Tampines West MRT. So you can just walk across the road and then you are actually just right beside Tampines West. And of course, you are also situated very near to the future transformation, such as the Paya Lebar airspace, and further down you have the Bayshore Master Plan. So this Bayshore Master Plan, we know that this project called the Vela Bay will be launching at approximately 3,000 PSF and above. With this, it's also important for you to know that right now, if you are thinking of buying one at a possibly price gap with the future launches, you have a very good sensing because this one should be ranging at about 2003 to 2005 PSF. And this just right across the PIE, you should expect this to be at 3,000. So there's actually a gap of about 500 to 600 PSF depending on which stack and which unit you are choosing. With this is also one of the potential reasons that investors might be looking at because of this price gap. Conversely, if you look further up, Paya Lebar Airbase is a 800 hectare size. So why is it important for you to know this? Because there will be future live, work and play over here, which means that there will be also future land sales here that will pave the way for higher GLS in the future. And fast forward to Pinery as the site itself. Over here, this is where we are. Earlier, I mentioned to you that what you will be observing is that you have this Revel just right diagonally across you being an EC, and you're pretty much fixed already because the rest of the land plots are all taken up and they are full already. So you should not expect an oversupply situation in Tampines West area because you are only left with 1, 2, 3 and the last plot over here, which is the 4th plot. And then what you want to know is that since I mentioned Revel Tampines is right opposite, you will be expecting over here, people are concerned whether next time if I'm going to sell over here and this is going to MOP, will they be upgraders to buy mine? Or will there be people who wants to decide between here and here, causing Revel to be indirectly my competitor? I'm going to address this in a moment as we go through the timeline to explain to you what are the pros and cons when you decide to hold on to this unit and when is the sweet spot for you to exit. And if you take a look at Revel Tampines, you notice that their MOP is at 2034. That having said, if I were to look at just these two as the comparison, if Revel is going to MOP in 2034, 5 years after TOP, 5 years, then they sell. I don't think there's going to be any immediate issue because this one is actually TOP around 2030. Sorry, yeah, 20, sorry, TOP around 2029. And most of the people will be expecting to sell around 2030, thereabouts. So with 2030 to 2034, there's actually a good 4 years of difference where if you are not thinking of rushing to sell, you still can buffer for the next 4 years and potentially rent out at a good rate because you don't have much competitors in this MRT line. But if I actually widen the scope and you can notice for the upcoming condo and EC supply in Tampines, this is what you should be expecting. In Tampines area, we know that there's one integrated development, which is much larger scale than Pinery. And we know that as Parktown Residence, which is above 80% sold right now. It is also a mixed development that has MRT component and also bus interchange with a TOP expected in 2028. During this period, their holding period is only 3 years. That means that they could easily sell in the year 2028 or sell in the year 2029. That means that there's a total of 1,193 units, resulting in, assuming if there's only a 30% of them for sale, you should expect at least a supply over here of approximately about 200 to 250 units for sale in the year 2028 that builds up to 2030. So why is this one thing that you must be mindful of? Is because Pinery is going to TOP in 2029. With Pinery being TOP in 2029, what should you actually be seeing is that there's only 588 units and people are going to start selling here in the year 2028 to 2030 with about 250 approximately units. If they're going to TOP, you're going to add on further supply over here, which means there's double supply in this area. But however, a lot of people are usually more excited when it's a new project. So in this year, when you TOP, you can actually have a choice to rent it out for 1 year first, observe the market and let the rest of the units push up your selling price, then you decide to sell. So if I were you, if I were considering Pinery, I would definitely think about this as, okay, maybe I wouldn't sell during TOP, knowing that there's much supply coming from here. I will let the supply over here to go up in price as they sell, and I'll just rent out for 1 year to wait till the prices reach to another point already, then I will try to offload my property. But not to even forget, in the year 2031, of course, we know that Orel does not actually have a lot of supply because Orel's location is also not as good as Parktown and Pinery. Therefore, if it's Orel itself, their MOP is in the year 2031. Well, since we know that their MOP in the year 2031, what you should expect is you expect another 5 more years of holding, as well as these people who are gradually selling in 2-bedder and 3-bedder and 4-bedder will not all sell one shot in the market, especially those who are buying for own stay. So assuming there's 700 units in the year 2031 and probably 20 of them are out for sale, that makes up to about 150 to 180 units for sale. If it's 180 units for sale together with this approximately 200 units for sale, a combination of 2-bedder or 3-bedder, what I would do is I will rent this out and probably look at the sale in 2031 to 2032. So you get the idea? Now, moving forward, if you decide, oh no, actually I'm thinking of buying this for own stay, maybe I don't want to sell in such a tight timeline, I want to extend and prolong this period, then do be mindful that Revel at Tampines is going to MOP in 2034. Since they are going to MOP in 2034, you should be expecting another 100 to 150 units in the market gradually as we go along in the years. So the sweet spot for you to think about exiting is 2030. You can consider rent out for this year. 2031, oh, it's too small. Wait, I'll write it bigger for you. 2030, I should consider rent out for a year, observe the market. 2031 to 2032, I should actually start pricing my unit in the market to sell. That's the first wave. And then if not, you may want to cross over here, maybe 2035, then you start selling again. So if you miss the very first window, you can consider to go in again at the second window so you don't compete with the rest and also enjoy your rental yield as you go along. Okay? So, however, since we also know that I want to dive deeper that, Orel, which is the first one to MOP in 2031, may take away some demands for buyer who are actually budget conscious. They may not have too high of a budget to pay, or they don't want to, pay for a very big quantum for such an OCR area, what you should be seeing is that three-bedder plus yacht for the own stay ones, when they enter at 1,009 PSF, they should expect to sell in around 2,004 per square feet, making up to about 2 million to 2.2 million of sale price in the year 2031. For the four-bedder, you should expect them to be selling around 2.4 to 2.8 million for their compact four and larger four. Of course, for five-bedder, it will cross 3.2 million, and that should be the ones that's happening in the year 2031. And suppose Revel also sells at 2004 PSF in 2034 to 2035. What you should actually be expecting is that, or Revel, which is just diagonally across, will also be selling for the three-bedder around 2.1 to 2.2. And their larger three-bedder and also four-bedder should be around 2.5 to 2.8, even going up to 3.3. So why is it important for you to know this? Because we also want to take reference to Parktown residents, because eventually all these three projects will be the one to pump up the supply in Tampines area per se. For Parktown, we know that there's a total of 1,195 units. With this, their average PSF have already gone up to 2,003 PSF, and their highest PSF has already gone up to 2,006. That having said, you can ignore the quantum, but if you focus on the PSF and take reference to Pinery to expect kind of how much they'll be launching, their land break or estimated break even is sitting at about 1,008 PSF. With 1,008 PSF, what I should be seeing is that they should be launching at approximately 2,005 to 2,008 PSF. Now, looking at this is actually quite concerning, to be frank, because 2005 to 2008, 2004 to 2005 should still be an acceptable range. But anyone who is crossing 2005 higher range to 2006, that's a time that one should be a bit concerned, because Parktown has already done deal up to 2006. With this, I will exercise caution about how much I will walk away if I'm actually at the ballot number. Or even if I don't get to ballot, when I go back and choose my unit, I will also be very conscious about this PSF, because I want to make sure that I don't end up being, entering at 2006 onwards. So I'll come to that in a moment. So if we are going to expect the maximum amount that I'm going to embrace purchasing Pinery, and yet making sure that I don't overpay for this project, I will actually set this as 2550 as the maximum benchmark. With 2550 as the maximum, I would say safest max benchmark, you will expect your two-bedder should be going around 1.5 to 1.7 million. And also, for the three-bedder, you should expect the quantum to be on the lower two all the way to 2.6, because their three-bedder has up to 1,023 square feet. Assuming if yours is at 990 to here, actually I think it's also good, because if you are buying for own stay, buying for own stay and investment, highly recommended, no need to go until too big of a size. Most importantly is because the quantum you may observe is actually quite high. If you were to sell these sizes at 3 million in future, there might be some resistance with the sale, because buyers may not be open to embrace 3 million purchase price for a three-bedder at that moment, until the rest of the land sales has start coming up, like Paya Lebar and also this Bayshore area. So with this, right, if I were to buy Pinery, I would also be looking at a more efficient size, which is 872 to 990. A lot of buyers these days has gradually accepted that 872 to 990 is actually the just nice size for most of the family these days. With this, the quantum should be at 2.1 to 2.2. Definitely much more palatable for you to sell in future, should you want to sell it at, let's say, 2007 PSF, which will still be around 2.3 to 2.6 lower range. So with this, that brings us to the final comparison of Pinery versus Revel versus Orwell. With Pinery at this stage, assuming in the year 2029 TOP, you decide that, let's say I decide to be very, very greedy. I know that Parktown has already done deal at 2006 PSF. When they are going to TOP 1 year before me, their 2006 will have to sell at around 2009 PSF. If I don't want to be greedy, I'll just use this amount for my own sale since I'm younger than Parktown. I should expect my quantum to be around 2.3 all the way to 2.9 million for their compact three-bedders in different sizes. So if I take comparison with these two, which are the ECs, for more cost sensitive buyers, what you will see is that in Orel itself, which is the first one to MOP, there are three-bedder, but yard sizes is pretty similar with Pinery. They will be expecting to sell Orel, if you know, it's actually at a quite far away location, which means that it's not going to be as convenient as Pinery, and they do need to travel out. With this, you can notice that their quantum is situated at around 2 to 2.2 million. And for a private condo at about 100 to 200,000 higher, 100,000 to 200,000 higher is still an amount that I think is achievable. But of course, if you go up to 400,000 onwards higher, you might really face some resistance with the buyer to sell. And if you wait for a bit longer, which is the second wave of selling, you should see that Revel, if they are going to sell at 2004 PSF, their quantum is also around 2.1 to 2.2. So on a conservative level, if today we were able to reach Pinery at 2950, I would think it will, if for your sale in future, I would think it will be a very exciting price that we should be looking at. But even if we don't sell at 2,950 PSF, you should still be able to at least aim for 2009 PSF, given that Parktown has already done deal up to 2006. With this, I would say that if you were to expect around 2009 PSF for sale, the quantum will have gone down by quite a bit. You should be able to sell it at 2.3 to 2.5 million. That will still allow you to move in the market. So what is the conclusion for this portion? Is that if you were to consider Pinery, given that you're surrounded with a lot of future development, there will be this early mover exit plan between the year 2029 to 2031. And it will be actually most beneficial because supply is low and competitor is not too many. And then you're also very near to future transformation like Paya Lebar Air Base and also Tampines Regional Central Development. Not to even forget that Pinery is one of the first harmonized project in that area to TOP because Parktown is the first one. And which will be also advantageous because surrounding projects are all unharmonized. Hence, the quantum will be much more exciting for future resale buyers. If you don't know what this means, actually a lot of people are trying to embrace this new change in the market. A lot of our units are actually unharmonized, which is if you are living in a condo right now, your condo is slightly an unharmonized unit. So unharmonized means you pay for aircon ledge and pay for airspace and pay for an irregulated way of measuring wall to wall. And that's why you see some of the floor size is relatively bigger, which resulted in a bigger quantum. Last week, I just did a viewing with my buyer. We went through this project called the Lake View. And also we saw another project called the Lake Grande, I think. So what happened is the Lake View is going at 1163 square feet and is unharmonized. And we're looking at the quantum to be around 2.45 million for that project. But if it's further now at Lake Garden MRT, what you will notice is that for the future harmonized plot over there, they will be selling at the same quantum, but a much more bigger space as compared to the unharmonized. So I told my buyer, if you're considering to buy a resale, it's actually very important for you to be mindful about what you're buying for resale and are there future harmonized project around you. Because although their PSF is going to be higher than you cannot forget that their quantum is way much more palatable and much more exciting. Because after all, it is new and after all, the price is the same. They will rather anytime hands down choose a younger one. So if you're considering to buy a project for investment, do place more focus on a harmonized project right now because this is really something that we highly encourage for this year onwards. Lastly, what is the plus point of Pinery is you're going to have a very strong rental pool, mainly because you don't have a lot of competitors and over that side, they are going to have a lot of transformations and you're quite near to the airport, as we all know. That's why the rental pool is quite strong. Now, enough said about the plus. Let's talk about the cons. The downside is that you may actually start to see slow movement once the first Orel EC has MOP in 2031 and perhaps another cycle in the year 2034 when Revel MOP. And this could also deter you from selling or maybe slow down your sale process because you realize that, hey, actually right now I want to sell but there's other competitors and I'm mindful of it because Kelly shared with me before. Then do be very timely when you plan your exit plan so you don't miss the wave. And another downside about the Pinery is that you have a big development that is Parktown, that TOP in 2028. So you might face competition over there, but also it's a very mixed effects because with 2028 TOP, they may start selling ahead of you and the sellers all are pretty much greedy, right? We all want to sell higher than the previous, which may result eventually that they may also inherently push up the benchmark or the the price in Parktown. And sometimes if you just price at the same or slightly lower, you can also sell off your Pinery. So this is actually subjective on at which phase are you going into for Pinery and when do you intend to sell, as well as what is the PSF of your entry and your floor level and facing, which we'll touch on it later. Some layouts, another downside is some layouts are also not so efficient as compared to EC layout, because we all know that EC layouts are built to be efficient. So we're going to take a look at the layout later to give you some perspective. And lastly, what is one thing you want to be mindful is the holding period may not be long. So because the holding period is short, if you're trying to exit at the first wave, you need to be very, very mindful of your exit timing and don't let rental drag you down for your exit plan. Because I have seen owners that rush into renting out and then take up a 2 years lease only to result in when they want to sell, they have a hard time selling, mainly because the tenancy agreement does not allow for exit clause. So if you really don't know how to time this or how to plan this, you know where to find. If you're someone you're working with, you can talk to them. Or if you need some advice, you can talk to me on how to time your entry and exit plan for Pinery per se. With this brings us to the next big topic is being a mixed development in an OCR area. Will we have unfair advantage when we want to exit? Because we hear a lot of different stories about mixed development. Some people are saying mixed development doesn't really make money. Some people say that mixed development does make a lot of money. So today, we're going to find out also what is the safety gap that you should be going into. That is probably something that you also want to know, because in future, when you want to exit, you are more mindful of how much are you entering in and how much are your neighbors also entering in to track whether it's safe for you to exit in future or not. So this is a site plan or the site layout for Pinery. It's made out of 6 blocks of 14 story. And it's a 95.9% north-south orientation with all bin center and substations sunken in the basement, and which means you cannot really see it at all. The clubhouse also is surrounded by greenery because they want to create a oasis, like a feel of a near-to-nature feeling in a bustling city. And then lastly, there's also generous block distance between each other. Some people are concerned that the block to block are quite close. I'll come to that in a while. Okay, so before we go to the block-to-block distance, I think the key thing you want to be mindful is I have so many different blocks to choose from. Which is the block that you think is the most profitable or the easiest to sell in future? I know it's already a mixed development, but within the next mixed development itself, there's also specific stacks that you can place more priority or focus in. One example is that if I were to take a look at these different blocks based on the site plan, you can see that I have a few top first, second, and third choice. My first choice is actually the one that is closer to the MRT access, and that is a block 930. Now, why block 930 over here is because as lazy as Singaporeans can be, we also want to choose the most efficient block that allow me to have direct access to MRT, because this is such a privilege for me to be staying just with one access down. I can walk to MRT. If I want to sell in future, I think this will be a very rare situation that you can jolly well say that my block is the only block in the whole of Tampines West to have direct MRT access. So very, very unique and very, very good unique selling point. And this is one of the unique selling point that you can be watchful for if you're looking at Pinery. With this, that's my top choice. And the second choice, I would say that is at block 932. Why is that so? Because this is actually accessible from Tampines Green and also bus stop, but that's not the key. The key is that I started to observe that when I'm selling units like Watertown, or when I'm selling like a normal condo like Park Colonial versus Woodley, and also recently I went to view Pinery Residences, there are actually buyers who are very, very cautious about, I don't want to come down and immediately see hawker. I don't want to come down and immediately see food court. I think this is too busy. Everywhere I go, I see people. I know I want convenience, but I also want privacy and quietness. So that's why with this feedback, in my opinion, I would choose block 932 as the second choice, because it is not near the bustling food court, which is here. And it's also not near to the clubhouse. I mean, you can actually walk from facility to the clubhouse. Also, I feel that if I'm going to choose a one that is the furthest away from the MRT, there's also one more block here, furthest away. I think people will be saying that, this is the furthest from MRT. Maybe you may not be able to sell it as quickly as people around here. So if I were to choose, this will be the top choice. This will be the second choice for people who want a bit of privacy, but yet want near MRT access. And lastly, my third choice will be Block 928. Why? Because actually this is near to this MRT as well. And below here, right, is actually the F&B. The F&B does not mean hawker or food court because the food court is already here. The F&B can be restaurants and stuff like that. So if it's cafes and restaurants, I think this will be perfect because I can go down and eat. I can meet my friends downstairs. I can chill. I have coffee. I can bring my iPad down to do my work and, stuff like that. And then come back right up to my home. So this is also one of the unique selling points of Block 928. So in each of these blocks, there's unique selling point. And one is more for quietness, one is for super ultra convenience, one is for a bit of convenience as well as quietness, privacy, and also lifestyle. And then the ones from here all the way to the bottom will be a bit more bustling, nearer to the food court, nearer to the supermarket, and also furthest away from MRT. And then this one also furthest away from MRT. Okay, this is just my personal opinion because we've seen people on the ground for resale asking about these kind of questions. And therefore, I want to share my knowledge with you so you can choose a more preferred stack and for easier sale in future. Now, how has other mixed development with private entity perform? I think my group today all are quite quiet. I'm not too sure whether you guys will interact with me or not. But before I go on, do you guys have any questions? Well, feel free to ask questions in the chat group because I welcome questions and I'm very, very talkative. So very, very interactive. Please ask questions if you're not sure. Okay. Meanwhile, let me catch your breath. All right. Okay. No questions. Yeah. Let me continue. So how has other mixed development with private entity perform is this is Watertown and this is Treasure Trove. I want to take a comparison for you because you want to know whether at which price gap is it safe for you to enter with some good exit. For Watertown itself, this is a mixed development, and also for Treasure Trove, it's just right across it. Both actually TOP at almost the same time, and during the time when they TOP, they actually have experienced a gap of 35%. To be frank, Watertown was quite concerning because when they launched, right, their PSF was 1,002 plus PSF. And at that time, this is the highest record in Punggol. And many of the buyers were quite concerned whether they can exit or not. Well, truth be told, they did went through a bit of a market correction because you can see that their prices come down for a while. And then after that, it shot back up because they realized that it's actually on par with Treasure Trove. So since we know that Treasure Trove TOP is 2015 and this Watertown is TOP in 2017, you can observe that Treasure Trove also did some price correction at that time. Also mainly because Punggol, that side actually just started developing. And not a lot of upgraders there one shot at that moment. So there were not a lot of demands, easy demands over them. And so when you see the correction, don't be alarmed because sometimes it's a supply and demand situation and Punggol was just started to transform. Eventually, Treasure Trove actually went out in price and actually almost merged in price between Watertown and this Treasure Trove. And that's why you notice Watertown actually went back up because people start noticing that it makes sense to buy Watertown. And that's why you see that there's actually a big gain from 1,001 all the way to 1,003 within just a span of 3 years. With this, actually, Watertown starts to show a bit of correction after TOP, mainly because Treasure Trove was also selling and Watertown was selling, and the rest of the condos at the back were also TOP or MOP around the same time. So as such, let's take a look at the grand scheme of things, like overall. From 2015, from Treasure Trove's TOP until the next 5 years, you can actually observe that they only make a gain of 1.83%. But if you take a look at Watertown from 2015 all the way to 2020, they actually have an overall gain of 10%, even though there was a correction over here. So this goes to show that actually, right, even though their entry is 35% ahead, they are still able to make a gain that is about 10 times more than a normal condo. But can I conclude it this way? The answer is no, because later on, let's take a look at how they perform. For Treasure Trove and Parktown, they are still having a gap at this moment, a narrowing gap of about 200 PSF. With 200 PSF, Treasure Trove is able to go up by 48%, whereas Watertown has also gone up by 42%. This also means that actually not all mixed development does not make money. it also goes to show that mixed development does also show signs of growth. In fact, maybe you may say that, hey, Watertown, Treasure Trove make more than Watertown, but I may beg to differ. The reason is because actually, if you take 48% minus this 1%, right, plus this 1%, the total gain from point A to here, right, is actually about, I think I do a sum here, it's actually about 50%. So that means Treasure Trove from 2015 all the way to 2025 for the past 10 years make about 50% of gain. Well, in this market right now, it's definitely going to be faster. But during that time, 50% till now is actually quite a lot. For 2015, from Watertown all the way to this, you can see that you actually make a total of 52, almost 53%. So even though their entry price was 35% higher, they still made an overall 10 years gain of 53%, which is 3 to 4% higher than a normal condo just right diagonally across. This means that 35% is still an acceptable range for condos around whichever you're buying for a mixed development. But overall, if I stretch out from the time they launched in 2012 until 2025, Treasure Trove actually made a gain of 71%. And Watertown actually only make a gain of 39%. So this also is a good reminder to let you know that the timing of your exit is very important. It doesn't mean that you buy a mixed development and you're happy holding it for a very long period. Mainly because sometimes things like deterioration or preferences might change over the years. So I would say that from here, I will be mindful of my time or the duration of my holding when I want to buy a mixed development, because it seems like the lifespan for a mixed development does not seem to withstand the test of time. So this is one point to also be mindful. Nonetheless, if I take a look at overall annualization rate, pretty different from the percentage growth, you can see that actually in specific transactions for the two-bedders in Watertown, they actually, these are their entry price. They entered at these 800 plus thousand in that time, in the year 2012. When they actually sell in the year 2018, 16, and 22, this is their holding period. You can observe that no matter if they're holding for 4 years, holding for 6 years, or holding for 10 years, their annualized growth is still sitting at 4%. So earlier I mentioned about holding period. It doesn't mean holding on to the mixed development for 10 years is a good thing. Sometimes holding on to a mixed development for a 4 year could be good enough already, because the annualized rate is no much different from anyone who's holding for a longer period. So one thing to be mindful is your holding period for a mixed development. Another example is the two-bedder as well, 915 square feet. So this is at Treasure Trove. For Treasure Trove itself, you can notice, actually, they also enter about 800 plus to 900 lah. And when they actually sell in the 5, 7, and 9 years of holding, observe that actually the longer they hold, right, their annualized rate actually becomes more. The earlier they sell in the 5th year, it seems like they're not really doing very well. While other components like the timing of their selling in the year 2020 might not be a good choice, or maybe the owner is in a rush to sell, I have no idea. But to have an average annualized rate of 2% versus a mixed development of 4%, with a shorter holding period of 4 years to have 4%, versus a longer period of approximately average 7 years to see 2%, definitely I would think mixed development makes much more sense for investment than a normal condo. So what about the other example is Woodleigh Residences. For Woodleigh, this is COP in 2023 and also 2022 for Park Colonial. Let's see how they perform. For Woodleigh itself, when they actually launched, they're having a price gap or a gap of 22.8%. For 22.8%, right, let's see how they perform. For Woodleigh, you can see from the time they launched in 2018 until 2023, this period, 2023 is the time they actually TOP, just now I was saying. You notice that they have already made a gain of about 18%. Well, for this Park Colonial, you can observe that when they enter, they were at lower points than Park Woodleigh. And from the time they launch until the time they TOP in the year 2022, they have made a gain of 23%. So I'm actually seeing mixed signals over here for Potong Pasir area, which is District 13, because their launch price at that time was actually narrower than Punggol. But still, it seems like Park Colonial actually makes much more or grow faster than Woodleigh. This is in terms of the growth, in terms of overall PSF. But if we actually stretch out to the same duration, the result is also consistent. There's a 374 PSF from the time they launched in the year 2018 until 2025, during this year, which is last year, end of 2025, Park Colonial actually has made a gain of 51% as compared to Woodleigh at 36%. One of the possible reasons is because actually Woodleigh's developer, right, is not the most reputable, if I may say. And moving parts like this does also affect the demand over here. If you actually remember, Woodleigh has gone through flooding issue at that time. And this flooding issue is actually quite in the news and actually caused quite a commotion. I mean, right now they are pretty much settled already, but it goes to also tell that developer plays a role in how much gains you can make. With a quite trade developer, I might say, they're still able to make 36%. I say it's quite impressive. From 2018 to 2025, that makes up to 7 years of holding. And then for Park Colonial, if you have seen, their competitor from Woodleigh is actually completely different because Park Colonial is actually very, very nice, very European, very classical style. And the moment you go in, you feel very welcome. And with that quality versus Woodleigh, I think even for myself, I would definitely go for Park Colonial than Woodleigh. And if you actually exit from there, there's actually an underpass that goes to the mall also. So let's take a look at the annualized rate because it seems like the performance is Park Colonial's better. If we dive deeper to specific bedroom type, which is 3-bedder, for example, Woodleigh's overall holding period of 3 years seems to have a consistent result of between 6% to 8% in annualized rate. That means that averaging at about 7.5%. But if you take a look at this Park Colonial for 3-bedder itself, similar size as Woodleigh, you notice that their holding period is between 3 to 4 years. And yet at the same time, their annualized rate is only 4.5%. So this also is a very confusing situation because why is it that their overall growth is 51%? Overall, which means from 2, 3, 4-bedder generally. But when you dive deeper into the bedroom type, you still see that Woodleigh actually have a much quicker annualized rate than a normal condo. So as Chui, as a development it still shows that the annualized rate is better in terms of specific bedroom type. And that is a consistent result that I'm getting. With that, this also brings up your confidence in Pinery and confidence in mixed development. Not for me to quote that all mixed development can buy, but just know that actually it seems like shorter holding for mixed development is good. Seems like. But one thing still to be mindful of is that there are future land sales around you, and there might be an increasing amount of mixed development around you because earlier I was mentioning you are surrounded with future developments. That means from the URA master plan over here for Tampines, this is actually the potential use of mixed development. This is the from URA and then over here also you can notice this is the Tampines North Integrate. This is the Parktown Residences. And over here, you can also notice this is the Paya Lebar Air Base. And since we are going to understand they are going to do live, work, and play in one area, there are actually plots for residential over here, which they may also potentially consider to convert this into mixed development for 1 or 2 of them, which you never know. I mean, of course, by the time they are going to launch, the mixed development over there can cross 3,000 to 3,002 PSF. So that is also a very good window for you to look at it because there's always 2 schools of thoughts. But when it comes to supply, it's no doubt that there might be an increasing supply for our competitor for mixed development. All the more it's more important for you to time your exit and not hold it for too long, in my opinion. So Pasir Ris Town also, you have this Pasir Ris 8, which is a mega mixed development over there. That has already TOP and started to move already in their volume. So all this will be around you. And if you're going to hold for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, maybe you might expect that your annualized rate must start going down also. In conclusion, what is the plus point of Pinery in this context is that based on statistics, it appears that convenience in a neighborhood is one of the key in resale value. People still want the ultra super convenience. That's why you notice when it comes to annualized rate, they make much better. Okay, for resale in future, despite there's a price gap of 300 PSF as compared to neighboring condo, it still seems that there are still good demand for exit just don't hold for too long. There seems to be an increasing population in this area because as we begin to have more and more transformation, you are going to have boosted demand for your exit plans. But in all things, there's also the opposite, which is the EC resale volume in future might be your future competitors. So time your exit timing strategically. And with the massive transformation of Tampines Regional Centre and integrated transport hub, there might be more competitors in due time. So do choose a good layout. Lastly, you have to ensure that your entry price is not more than 30% with surrounding EC to be on the safer range. That means if you are thinking of, I want to have a bit of buffer because I don't want to take too high a risk, try to cap your gap from your surrounding condo if it's a private to be 30% or lower. So this gives you more buffer for exit for gains in future. With this, I'm going to just share with you that Pinery is 5 more days to preview. And since it's 5 more days to preview, this is the QR code. You might be considering to go down and have a walk. You might be considering to explore what is happening in Tampines area and to explore what is the kind of transformation that you're going to expect. Pinery preview is 5 more days, and this is the target preview period from 14 March all the way to 24th of March. And the target booking date is on the 28th of March. And therefore, this is actually the QR code for you to scan. With this, right, the QR code to scan, my staff will also be sending the link for the registration for the preview. You can actually scan on this QR code to go down for a shopping experience where I can walk you through, or you can actually click on the link inside, which I'm going to send it in the chat group in a while, and then you can also register from there. And there you go. So to all of you here, if you are thinking of curious about what Pinery looks like, just for kaypoh's sake, or really thinking about maybe I want to, invest, or maybe I want to explore the price and plus point and whatever, scan this QR code or click on this link and I'll be there to assist you for your preview. Okay? All right, so I'm going to move on. Okay, so next part we're going to talk about is which units are actually more worthy in the development. I'm going to go through this quickly because I've covered this during my River Modern sharing, and I will also be talking about this for all my projects. With this, there will be 3 main possible developer pricing strategy that you can expect in Pinery. First one is the loading in per floor level increment. The second one is the loading by unit types, and the third one is the loading in views. Now, how do I break it down is, for example, when you know that the developer is going to load on floor level, you can actually see this because this is a usual Hoi Hub pricing strategy. For Hoi Hub, they will normally normal floor they will be having a 0.5% increment, which means like a level 4 to level 33 for key residents is only like 0.5. So 1,781 versus 1,791. In this context, we will definitely choose a higher level. Okay. And as we go along, you can also see that level 6 and level 7 at the same stack has about 2% increment. So in the entire stack itself, there's going to be a bit of 0.5, a bit of 2%, or even up to 2.5% in this context. So this is to let you know that the same stack can have this load on floor level strategy that I know you may not be able to identify, but rest assured that we will help you to identify on the day of balloting or when you are ready to choose a unit. Second type of developer pricing strategy will be loading on views. Loading on views means that if you know this location, right, Pinery actually have pretty much not much views, to be frank. But there will be one specific area that I think the developer might load on it, which is over here. Why is it on this block, which is the one that is furthest away from MRT? Because if you take a look at the site plan, okay, this stack that I was saying, this block that I was saying just now actually looks right over the greenery over here, which is not planned for anything. As of now, it's going to be a protected greenery view. So with this protected greenery view, this could be one of the stack that developer might load on views. So it doesn't mean that developer adopt one strategy and that's it, because everywhere they can do, they will try to find their own sweet spot to increase their profits. So do be mindful. This is one of the method. The other one is loading on views. And the last possible ones that you should see is the loading on unit types. In River Modern, I also mentioned about loading on unit types. Last time, the smaller the unit type, the higher the PSF. Nowadays, the bigger the unit type, the higher the PSF. So if the developer decides to load on big units, what you should be seeing is the 3-bedder being ultra super enticing, because with this, right, you may be able to get a 2005 to 2055 or lower PSF. And that means that you are able to enter at a lower 2. And if the developer decides to load on bigger unit, which is this onwards, they should be going in about 2006 PSF or even more. So if their starting is 2005 PSF and they go into 2006, 2060, 650, anyone who is buying over here for the smaller unit type will stand to benefit because you use the bigger unit PSF to push up your own margin. I mean, capital gain or profit, whatever you call that. So with the safety net or maybe 100 to 200 PSF, if the smaller units are lower, more lower price, lower PSF than the larger unit, then this is definitely a steal because it makes sense to buy smaller unit. If the developer does not load on bigger units and decide to load on a smaller unit, then you may want to adopt an opposite approach and start from the biggest possible size as you go along based on your price range. And these are the type of units that you should be expecting. For 2-bedder, 3-bedder, and 4-bedder, you have 600 plus square feet all the way to 700, 800 square feet to 1,055 square feet, or 1,001 to 1,003 square feet. And that makes up to 20% for the 4-bedder, and 35% of 3-bedder, and 43% of 2-bedder. There is no 1-bedder for Pinery. So my advice is be mindful of the right type of pricing strategy that is happening on the day of balloting. And for part stay, part investment, start from the largest possible size in your price range. Meaning to say, if the developer is loading on 4 or 5-bedder, then start from the largest possible 3-bedder that you can enter with the lowest PSF to ride on the price gap with the larger unit in terms of PSF. Finally, do a final comparison of the type selected versus price gap strategy to see your safety nets. Because let's say you select a 990 square feet 3-bedder and the 1,023 square feet is 2,006 PSF, and then the 990 square feet is 2,500 PSF, example, you already have a safety net of 100 PSF. So this gives you certainty, and I hope that we can have this during the day of selection. Now, my name is Kelly, and you have been with, thank you for staying with. I see all of you are still here, and I'm very happy. I have helped more than 1,000 clients over my span of 15 years. And we have also helped a lot of clients to restructure their portfolio from wherever they are to where they are right now. And I'm extremely happy for them. And my specialty is to ensure that we kind of like work towards doubling or tripling your asset value in a more systematic and safe manner. If you want to find me more in social media, you can find me in Facebook under Live for Home SG. My personal account is under Kelly Lin, so you can type me or find me on Facebook. I have been a consistent millionaire achiever in PropNext, and therefore, what I'm trying to share with you is that being very family oriented, we also want to make sure that our consistent sales is not because we just want to make money out of you, but we want to make sure that we walk you through this journey and ensure that we are always up to date with the market trends and the market direction to bring you to the next step before others actually start moving. So you actually have some unfair advantage at this point of time. And also, you can find me in YouTube. Same thing, type Live for Home SG and you can find me over there. TikTok as well. Every week I do this. Every week I see my follower growing. So that's a good thing. So TikTok also, you can find me in Kelly Lin and Live for Home SG. These are some of the testimonials that my clients have given me. And also some of the clients that I've walked through with them. Like one of the vivid one is this client. They are very, very number data driven analysts. And they are very, very picky and specific with the type of agents they are working with. They have interviewed more than 20 agents before they met me. And when we were working together, they were extremely happy because we managed to push forth their HDB unit to sell at a record price within 2 viewings and allow them to be having a total net worth of 3.7 million from just 1.5 years from the time we met. Because when I met them, their HDB has not MOP yet. And after 1 year of on-the-ground research and looking around, I'm very happy that they have grown their net worth to 3.7 and just last year. Our next plan is to go again in the year 2030 to 2031 to have a net worth towards 5 million and also finally stop at 6 million by the time 2035. Now, you might be wondering, how can this be achievable? Isn't market going to change? So the good news is that actually we do a lot of reading and a lot of research on the ground. That's why you're here with me now. And we are very, very confident that with a very careful approach, we are able to help you to grow in this manner to ensure that you know what we are doing and have confidence in what we are also advising. Also, some of the clients, they may have a negative experience with property. They may have made losses. We also manage to help them to recuperate losses in just one swapping experience, and eventually manage to help her to cover a loss of 300 over 1,000 just within 3 years. And now she's on a positive gain of 150,000 onwards. So whether today you are in a stage where you just started exploring, or whether you're in a stage where you're thinking maybe you want to really upsize your asset value, your net worth using property, but you just don't know how to go about, you know that actually over here you are in a very safe situation, and we will ensure we will do a customized approach for your direction. This is also a bit of information about me. How do we adopt our safe and systematic strategy in our asset progression from where I was from here to here? We actually managed to grow from a this is my own name, 468,000 of HDB into a 2.86 million. And after that, within a span of just 3 years, we managed to make about 860,000. With 860,000, we were able to actually, together with our down payment, have own 4 million condo under my name and one more under my husband's name to become. So I think at the end of the day, what we want to achieve, and the reason why you're attending this webinar, is also because you are looking for that direction to grow your asset value. So definitely very important to follow someone who, you know, preach what they do or do what they preach, so you know you are in safe hands. And I stress this again, I cannot stress this anymore. Pinery is actually 5 more days to preview. If you are curious about where the show flat is, it's just right on this open field near to Tampines MRT. It's right in front of City Life. So City Life is the EC, right? That's already privatized. And so my friend was staying there and then she sold. So this is where you are at, just right outside City Life. And if you are thinking, I might want to go over on a weekend to see look, and you're staying nearby, you know where to find me. And I'm always just a call away. I have all your numbers here. I see all your familiar names. So yes, this is the show flat location. One sweet thing that I do for my client is, as much as I want you to grow, I also want you to have some, you know, tangible things that you can refer to. So for all the people who follow me for my show flat, you will be gifted with this PWS book, which is a personal written book by our Kelvin Fong. Some of you already have it already. No worries, I will gift you the Ismail book, 25 years from next. So if you have not have it, like Rachel, I'm supposed to pass it to you. And the rest of you who haven't had it, well, welcome to this. We will be gifting you for all show flat visit. We will be gifting you with one book. And this is the book. Okay, as slots are limited, I'm only left with 12 books right now. If you are considering again, this is my last call. Book your preview with me and scan this QR code or click on the link in the chat box. Okay, again, the preview date is from 14th of March to 24th of March, 24th of March, right? And then the booking date is on the 28th of March. Whether you're thinking of buying or not thinking of buying or just wanting to explore, feel free to reach out. I will do my best to help you. Okay? I'm going to catch a breath, drink some water, and I hope you guys can think about this. Okay? Hi, Eric. How are you? Good to see you, Eric. All right. So very quickly, we're going to go to bedroom comparison, and we're going to have Joey on over here with me. So today is very timely. I actually finished within 1 hour plus. I am very proud of myself. So for bedroom comparisons, we're going to take a look at 2-bedder first, then we're going to look at 3, and finally with 4. For 2-bedder, what you should be seeing is that you should have 4 different types of layouts. For 2-bed, 2-bath, okay, we're not going to look at the stack right now because it will take a long time. We can show you on the sites itself if you go down, if you are going down. And for there's B1, B2, B3, and B4, what is happening is for B1 is a 624 square feet, and it's a dumbbell layout with open kitchenette, a tiny area for dining area as usual, and a shorter wall over here for your two-seater sofa. All right. So this one actually quite important because you cannot fit 3-seater. So 624 is actually a very sizable quantum for early upgraders of thinking of upgrading as they're buying a first investment property as they're upgrading. The other type is the type B2 is 635 square feet. It is actually longish in layout. I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of this layout, to be frank. When you enter from here, you actually have the kitchenette here, a very, very cramped dining area here with, well, the plus point is that you have a very long wall here that you can build longer sofa. But besides that, the fact that your dining area is actually quite cramped as compared to this, I would say this may be less advantageous. Plus, if you observe a bit more, the window for bedroom 2 is smaller. Because window for bedroom 2 is smaller, I will definitely discourage this one. If your budget allows, go for a size up to 667 square feet. Now, although it's a traditional layout, you notice that there's also a very sizable living and dining area. You have a bedroom and bathroom all at one side, perfect for families. And your bedrooms are actually quite evenly spaced. And most importantly, it's actually proper window. So this is actually half window height because the aircon latch is outside, but still it's not as small as this window, which is really tiny. Okay. And then, well, of course, kitchenette, no choice because two bedroom. And since all of them are going to be kitchenettes, I think it's not going to be any issue. But if you are able to go up to a bit higher, the 700 square feet is actually the best layout. Best layout for you to sell off as a compact 3-bedder or for just newly upgraders that don't want to go too big a quantum. So for instance, you are still going to have an enclosed kitchen. You are going to have an additional study area, perfect for families who want to put their babies to sleep here. Okay, you can convert this study into a study room. You can see this at the show flat. This is a show flat type. And also, you have a dining area that can put 6-seater. Very important. As well as a master bedroom over here. If you're buying for investment and you want to stay, you can actually stay here and you have to consider to rent out this space here, which will actually fetch you quite good rental because again, earlier I was saying rental demand is high there. Okay, so if I'm going to take the 2-bed plus study comparison with Parktown, which is going to be a competitor anyway, you're going to observe that Parktown's 2-bedder is 764 square feet. Then not to forget, because they are also harmonized, the 764 square feet will have to end up with a 2 over million when they are going to sell in future. So since their highest done is 2006 PSF, their entry price is 1.99. I should not be surprised that they will be selling at 2.2 million in future for their 2-bed plus study. With this, what you should expect is if you are able to enter your 2-bed plus study at 2.5, probably at 2.5 range, right? Your entry price is 1.7 million. So 1.7 million is definitely a very comfortable range for any buyers out there for a 2-bed plus study in this market because you barely can get any 2-bed plus study within 2 million if you're talking about RCR these days. All the more for Bayshore, I don't think this is the range that you are able to go into if you are looking at 2-bed plus study. So risk marker, if developer is going to load on the larger unit type, I would say anything at 1.7 million range for the 2-bed plus study or maybe 1.6 million range for their 2-bed, 2-bath. Then 3-bedroom comparison, there's actually 3 different layouts. What you will see is C1, C2, and C3. C1 is actually a dumbbell layout, okay? So one side is actually the bedroom. You have also an enclosed kitchen, as well as a walkway that you can put your shoes, and a 6-seater dining with a 3-meter living, as well as you also have bedrooms at one side. And then you have your master bath and your bathroom here. But also notice that their bathroom over here does not have window. So kitchen no window, bathroom no window, may be a bit harder for you to sell in future because people who are buying here for own stay may not fancy a kitchen and bathroom without window, which is something that I hear on the ground. If you go on to C2, you can observe that it's a traditional layout as you enter from here. You don't have a lot of wastage in the entry area. You still have dining area here. You still have living area. You still have walking space here. And you have a kitchen that has a proper window, very important. And then all your bedrooms are actually full height windows. So with full height windows, it's also very good because anyone who's buying for own stay, they will definitely appreciate this. Whereas this one is only half height window for one of the bedroom. The bathrooms also come with toilet. So since the size is not too much of a difference and your price, if your price range allows, prioritize C2. Now, what about C3 is there's a longer walkway over here. This is to each his own. Some people like to build shoe cabinets here, longer ones. Some people like the fact that there's actually a foyer, which means that there's some privacy. With this, I think that the dining area over here is a bit odd because you want to come out from here, go here to eat your food. Maybe it doesn't feel that natural because most people, you come out from here, right? You want to see the openness. But I feel that when you come from here, it's a long walkway, then you come back, you see your family here having dinner. This is the part that doesn't feel very, it's not the usual pattern that we normally have. Unlike this one, if you come in, right, if you're having dining area here, it's understand because it's quite standard. So for bedrooms, also they have all open full height bedrooms window, which is great. Their bathroom also comes with window, so is kitchen. So the only thing that I will be concerned is this very odd walkway with, the moment you turn left, you see people eating their food. So in terms of layout, I would definitely say this is probably better. And for price wise, if you're looking at that layout, your entry price is possibly at a 2.2 million to 2.2 million. Still very, very reasonable for an area over here for mixed development. And there's also 3-bedroom with home shelter. 3-bedroom with home shelter is C4, C5, and C4, C5, and C7, and C6. That's 4. So this one is really, really much for people for own stay. You have 3-bedders that have definitely found key things is you have kitchen, you have all the bathrooms with windows and stuff like that. But the key difference is mostly on the walkway because this one has shorter walkway. This one is slightly more wider walkway. This one is a longer walkway here, and then this one is the foyer walkway. So with this 1055 square feet, what's the difference is you can actually notice that there is a window here at the walkway, which is one of the good point because actually walkway with window you hardly see. But they put the aircon ledge over here so you have extra lighting here. If you want to, you can convert this study into your kids' room or convert this study into your walk-in closet, which leaves some flexibility for people who are looking at long-term staying. So then again, it really goes back to developer pricing strategy. And that's why when it comes to risk marker, if I'm looking at 990 square feet, I'll definitely try to enter at within 2.5 million as the max. And if you're looking at the larger ones, I would say 2.6 million probably at the max. Lastly, 4-bedroom. 4-bedroom, you have D1, D2, and D3. So pretty much not very, very big difference in terms of their layout over here. But then again, for D1, you have a walkway with a window. And then for D2 and D3 is the usual walkway here. D3 actually, these two actually have a study room over here. And then this one is the store. So if you're looking at a study that you can actually take it out, you can actually have flexibility to go for D3 or D2. All right. And then there's also 4-bedroom with home shelter and study. This is also their D4 and D5 at 1281 square feet and 1389. So these two actually the entry price should be something around 3 million and above already. And to choose this carefully, there's also one stack over here and one stack over here. If I were to prioritize a stack, because when it comes to facing, I would definitely encourage that we look at stack 15 or probably stack 6 because the gap is actually further than this one. So in terms of stack, because for own stay view is quite important, try to go for stack 6 or stack 15 if your price range allows. Right, so the choice you need for 4-bedder comparison as with Parktown, since we know that D1 is actually one of the more efficient layouts, and also D2 is also another consideration. For Parktown itself, for similar size, their 4-bedder is much bigger in size, 1,003 plus square feet, with their PSF at 2003 already done deal. So with 2003 already done deal, their quantum is 3.1 to 3.2 million. If you're able to go into Pinery at 2005 to 2006 PSF, you should also be able to get in at something at 3 million, or in fact, if you can get lower than 3 million, I think this is a very sweet spot for such a size 4-bedder in Pinery. If it's more than 3 million, maybe the risk factor will be higher. So for the smaller unit types, go for the lower 3 or maybe at the maybe 2.9 or 3 million for D1. For the larger unit, try to keep at 3.1 to 3.2. If you go up to 3.3, I think this will be a tad too high for you to exit next time. Lastly, there's only one kind of 5-bedder, which is E1. There's only 12 units. And for 5-bedder, we are very, very sure developer will not be sparing about their price. So if you are looking at 5-bedder, 2007 PSF will get you a 3.9 million. So I believe 3.7 to 3.8 is the low floor. And the mid to high floor should be around 3.9 to 4 million already. So folks, if you want to buy the 5-bedder over there, this one really for the long haul, yeah? Okay, so for Parktown, their 5-bedder is 1,006 square feet. and for Pinery is 1475. Much more sizable in terms of quantum. Parktown has already exceeded 4 million already, and their PSF is 2004 with 4 million quantum. So if you can get something at probably 2005 per square feet, which I don't think so, you should be going at the lower 36 to 37. And if it's 2006 per square feet, it's about 3.84. So it depends on developer on the day. If they decided to be less greedy, maybe you can really get a unit at 3.8 to 3.9. Okay. Right. So I'm going to skip this. So lastly, the best property decisions are made by chance and are not made by chance. They are made by choice and of course, with the right strategy. With this, I want to welcome Joey into over here because she will be sharing with you the aesthetic part of Pinery to give you some head starts on what to expect should you be coming down on the day of preview. Okay, so Joey, I'm going to hand over to you. You guys have questions? Do feel free to reach out. We have a very shy bunch today.
Very shy bunch.
Very shy bunch today.
Same as me.
Yeah, same as you.
Hi, I'm Joey San. So I'll be sharing about the details of Pinery Residence so that you have a better understanding of the project before we open for preview this weekend. Okay, so what makes this development interesting is that it combines direct MRT connectivity, retail convenience, and also residential living all in one integrated development, right? Okay, so let me share with you on this location map. So this location, right, is actually located at Tampines Street 94, right? It's right next to this Tampines West MRT station, and this is actually the downtown line. So downtown line is a very powerful line whereby there's 12 interchange that leads you to all the colors very easily. So it also connects to like CBD area, Marina Bay area, and even the Changi Airport as well. So it's very good for people convenient for people who work in these areas. Okay, we are also actually surrounded by schools where we have within 1 kilometer, we have the Junyuan Primary School and also the St. Hilda's Primary School, which is one of the more popular school in Tampines with good reputation. All right, so this location is very attractive for families. Right, just one stop away, we also have this Tampines station where we have the 3 major malls over here, the Tampines One, Tampines Mall, the Century Square. So a lot of people go to these malls over here in the Tampines. Right. So other than that, we also have other foods options. So you see a lot of all these logos, right? These are all food options. We have a lot of hawker centers. I counted it's like about 5 of them in this area.
Oh, 5 of them. That's a
5
lot.
hawker center, yeah.
Wow.
So the next one, let's say you want to go to, Jewel, Changi Airport, there's also a lot of food over there, right? So it's just 5 stops away.
Oh, 5 stops to
the Jewel Changi Airport, right?
I'm just very curious. Earlier you mentioned about downtown line being very powerful. Why do you think this is very powerful?
Because it leads to all the colors. You can go to the circle line, you can go to the green line, you can go to the red line. So it leads to all the colors very easily. That's why this is really powerful line. You can go to Bukit Timah as well.
Right. So that's why you go one round and you can lead to all.
Yeah, you can go to everywhere. And then right beside here, we also have the Bedok Reservoir where you will see a lot of people actually in their sportswear running around, cycling, jogging. And there's also like water sports in there. Right. So over here, there's another reason why investors are actually watching this area is because there's also future transformation in the East region, whereby we have the future Paya Lebar Air Base, right? And also the Changi Airport Terminal 5, and also our expansion for the Tampines Regional Center, right? So this will actually create a lot of jobs and popular growth over time.
Is there like an estimation of like job demand in future?
So there will be this Changi area, then we have the Changi Business Park, quite a lot of places, and then this future Paya Lebar Air Base. So there's a lot of things going on. Actually, the government is doing a lot of things to Singapore. So
yeah, that's why.
So it's best to follow the government's planning.
I actually realized that recently, the Loyang area, not Loyang, Loyang, started to see a decrease in demand for rental. You know the Dahlia Park, the side. It's very, very old already. And a lot of people there are trying not to go there for rental because they observe that it's really not that convenient to get out of that place. So this gives them, and now with the connectivity with MRT, am I right to say that people are more fussy about where they are
Correct,
renting.
because there are more choices already, ma. There's more choices that are near towards the MRT that they can just directly link to all their workplace already.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So this is actually the map for our Pinery residence to show you where exactly we are. We are actually 200 meters away to this Safra Tampines, where they actually offers a lot of recreational facilities as well. And then, actually, we are directly linked to this MRT. So a lot of projects will say like we are near MRT, but for this development, it's directly linked to the MRT station. So you really can just walk downstairs and then you go straight without stepping, without seeing the sun and the rain and all this, right? You are totally weather protected.
Yes, but actually, right, some of us are even saying that some of the agents are telling me this is an integrated transport hub. The truth is maybe not, because we cannot say that it's an integrated transport hub.
It's not below lah, but it's directly linked.
Actually, it works similar as well, but just at a fraction of the price tag.
Yeah, correct. So this will definitely support stronger long-term demand in future for your future tenants and even buyers pool. Okay. So over here, we also have surrounded with all these these BTOs, right, which will MOP in the coming years.
Okay, so there will be BTO upgraders in future over there. But yet at the same time, we also want to know that there's not a lot of supply, let's say in the year 2029, when I decide to sell. Then because this is the only mixed development over there, it also makes it much more interesting because they cannot find any other mixed development in this same area that they have been staying with, where their kids are really studying there and all this.
Yes, really not much supply in the area already. Okay, so this is actually the developer Hoi Hub. They have done a lot of projects in Singapore already. They are reputable developers in Singapore, and they are classified as like Band 1 developer according to the BCA. Band 1 meaning, right, they will have very strong workmanship standards. Yeah.
Band 1,
Band
good.
1. So defects not too much one.
Yeah, good. I think this is important.
Yeah. Okay, so some project information, right? So this is actually 588 units, 6 blocks of 14 story. And then we have like 120,000 square feet of the commercial podium. So right below 120,000 square feet is like half the size of Bedok Mall. Bedok Mall about 4 levels, so around 2 levels of Bedok Mall like that. So it's like pretty big.
Yeah, pretty big.
Then we have 12,000 square feet of the supermarket. Right, usually it's only 10,000.
Right.
Then we also have 7,000 square feet.
That's 2,000 more.
Yeah.
2,000 square feet is a lot.
Quite a lot already.
Yeah.
It's like one penthouse unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then there's another 7,000 square feet of childcare center. Usually you will see like only 5,000. So they actually really do quite a big space over there. So 60 retail shops and also food, F&B lah. F&B restaurants. Okay. So this is how it will look like. The picture for Pinery Residence. Level 1 will be the shopping mall. Level 2 is actually our car park for the residential. And then level 3 onwards, right, will be all our residentials already. And this is actually 11 meters elevated.
Oh, 11 meters elevated. Okay.
11 meters elevated from the ground. And then right at the basement will be the commercial car park.
Does it look something like the Lentor modern kind?
Lentor Modern. Okay, Lentor Modern, they actually share the same car park.
Oh, okay. So it's the same entrance for Lentor Modern. Oh,
correct.
Yeah. I thought my client didn't go for it because of that also. So this one has separate car parks.
Yeah, separate car park.
Very important. Yes, guys, this is very,
one
very
basement
important.
And one on the level 2.
Good.
Right. So residential's on top. So you can really straight away come down via the lift and then you reach all the convenience already.
Yes.
Right. Okay, so this is how the placement of the blocks, right? 6 blocks of 14 story. In between, we have all the swimming pools and the facilities. 95% of the units are north-south facing, right? And this is how it looks like.
Wow, nice.
So this development is actually, the zones are actually divided into 3 major zones. The family oasis, the play zone, and then the wellness sanctuary in between all these, right? So for here, this part here, we have the function rooms, the media room, private dining, and then it's right by the poolside. It will look something like this. Very nicely done. Okay. Then we have the function room 1 and 2. That means you can actually combine if you need a bigger space.
Oh, can
If you
open
don't-
up lah.
Yeah, if you don't need, then you just put one of it can already. So interior wise, it's done up nicely with this new design, modern design. And then we have the games room to have party for the children. And then this is the gourmet room where there's a kitchenette over here. You can actually invite a chef to come and cook for you, and then you have a private
It
dining.
can look exactly like this in terms of the wall and the fixing.
Yeah, it
and
will look exactly like this one, because most of the time in the brochures and everything, they come out with this kind of design, right? When you go and see the actual thing, it's like that one.
Yeah, function room cannot play lah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's already
Okay.
inside the brochure already.
Right.
Yeah. So over on this part here will be more of the kids' party room, the barbecue pavilion, right? Then this is how it looks like. For usually Hoi Hub, they have done a lot of like family-oriented kind of development. So it's the way that they place and the location of their facilities is also very important. Like for example, this is a swimming pool for the children, then they will have like barbecue pavilion here. Because once you have party, then the children will be running around.
Yes.
They want to have like children's facilities nearby. So that when their children are playing around,
You can still see.
Yeah, it's within their sight.
Yeah. Hoi Hub, huh?
Yeah, Hoi Hub. Yeah.
That's why.
So the kids' party room will look like this. Also will be this kind of design, very fun loving, very fun looking.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Right. So this portion here will be more of the Vitality Sanctuary, whereby the gym and all these facing towards the 50-meter lap pool. Right. This is how it looks like.
Right. The Vitality Sanctuary.
All right. Very nicely done. And this will
nice
be the gym overlooking to the pool view. Quite a big gym, I think.
Well, because it's 588 units,
Yeah.
they do have to cater for. So it means it's going to be like 5 treadmills. It's the same, right?
Yeah, it should be like this.
Right. Nice.
Facing towards the pool
My house
view.
gym is too small. Need to size up.
Yeah, actually, this kind of gym, you will have more motivation to come down.
Yes,
because
yes,
someone
yes.
is swimming downstairs in their bikini.
I mean, for ladies.
Okay, so this is actually towards the lap pool. So I like this there's this pavilions, right? It looks like a lantern. So it's called the lantern pavilion. So this is actually right next to the pool, and here will be the tranquil garden. So they also put in a lot of landscapes surrounding,
Nice.
so you can actually sit around the area.
Right. So they want to have nature within there.
So this is how the lantern pavilion look like.
Nice, actually.
Yeah.
This is where the open seating is.
Yeah. The barbecue pavilion, again, we will have a lawn area for the children to run around, and also this playground, so that everything is within sight. Yeah. So it's
Very
well
open.
planned. Right, so this will be the second story car park plan. Why I want to show you this is because our main vehicular access from the Bedok Reservoir to the second story car park will be around here, and it will look something like this.
Oh, so it's a sheltered drive-in.
Yeah, so the moment you drop off, it's all sheltered already.
Right.
So even the MRT is sheltered, the car, that side is also all sheltered.
Splendid.
Yeah, so very nice design. For our mall-wise, right? So here we have this 7,000 square feet of the childcare center.
Yeah.
Then this will be all the retail, the F&B. Okay. Then we have the food court. The supermarket itself is already 12,000 square feet. And we also have a community plaza, an open space area. So right in between, we have a 24 hours through block link where people, let's say because over here, there's some BTOs, so people can actually walk through
past.
here to go to our MRT station.
Nice.
Right.
So will there be view when they walk past?
Will there be view? Probably it will be the shops. You will pass by some shops. Then it's very convenient. Right. So this will be how the Pinery Mall will look like, with a lot of greeneries on top. They actually design it in a way whereby the residentials will be like an oasis by itself.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like downstairs there's a lot of activity going on. Yeah. So it's like separated by a lot of greeneries. Okay, so you will something like this, the community plaza.
Right. Nice.
Yeah. A lot of shops below. And then the Pinery Mall drop-off area for the commercial. Yeah. And then the food court will look something like this.
So it's going to be very vibrant and bustling and stuff like that.
Yeah. Right. So this would be the Pinery Mall MRT, as in the car park on the basement. So this basement car park here, right, there's this level 1 access from the first story that you can walk directly to the MRT
MRT.
station. It's a direct underground pedestrian link way.
Right.
They can walk towards
That is the one.
Yeah. So it's linked like this and it looks like this.
Oh.
So it's like directly linked to everywhere already. So the moment you walk out from your MRT, it's all linked to your house.
Yes.
Okay. So unit mix, this development actually offers a wide range of unit types, right? From 2 bedrooms all the way up to 5 bedrooms. So minimally will be 624 square feet, which is the 2 bed, 2 bath, right? And it caters to different groups like from young couples, families, and also the multi-generational families.
Right.
Right. So you look at the size, look like a bit small, because it's a harmonized project. Yeah. So aircon latch is not counted in, so you got to go to the show flat to fill the space. Because nowadays we see that the size small, but actually the space really look much bigger than what it actually states.
Correct. This is really need to experience on.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's because of the layouts. It's very efficient. So you really need to go and fill the space. So this is what we have in the show flat.
The show flat type.
Yeah, the show flat type, the 2 bedroom, we have this 700 square feet. So I want to highlight about this 1 square meter storage, which is the signature of Hoi Hub.
That's true.
So Hoi Hub, they always have this in their other developments, like for example, Condominium, Key Residence and all these. They always have this 1 square meter storage, whereby it's also tucked in like one corner. If I didn't open up, you won't know that there's storage inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, cannot 小看 the 1 square meter. It's quite amazing, you know.
Yeah, you can put luggage.
Yeah, you can put luggage, you can put vacuum cleaner, you can put some barang, you can put quite a bit of things, stroller.
Yeah. And it's all the way up to the top.
Yeah.
So you really can utilize the whole 1 square meter.
Correct.
Yeah. So previously we have shown people in other show flats regarding this 1 square meter. A lot of people, they like this concept.
Yeah, me too actually.
Yeah, okay. So this would have the kitchen that is tucked in one corner and then the dumbbell layouts. Right. So this would be the bigger one, the 1055 square feet, 3 bedroom. So for these larger units, right, for this development, they actually add in this study area here. So when it comes, it's like an empty, it's without wall.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can use it like a study if you want, or you can actually combine it and make it into like a big master room.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. That's the flexibility, right?
Sometimes you can use as a hobby room or baby room, baby cot and all this.
Yes.
There's a lot of things to do with this space.
Flexibility, yeah.
Okay, so this will be my 4 bedroom layout, which will be 1389 square feet. Right. So again, this is like a study. For the show flat, it has already opened up. It has already opened up, so they didn't do any separation for the study. Right. The whole length is 4.75, and yet you will still have this space for living, and there's another dining area. So this will be a very good size living room. Yeah. So this is our show flat type. You can go over there to have a feel of the space. The units will also come with branded fittings like SMAC, Samsung, Hans Grohe, and also Duravit fittings. Yeah. So these are the 3 show flats that we have, right? And also overall, Pinery Residence, they stand out because of 3 key reasons: the direct MRT connectivity, the integrated retail convenience downstairs, and also the strong growth potential in the East region. Yeah. So buyers who wants to value all this is definitely a project worth considering.
Right.
Yeah. So with that, yeah,
we've come to the end of our Pinery sharing.
Yes.
And well, we welcome questions after today's webinar. In fact, we know that some of you might have some questions that is still unanswered, whether you are in what stage you are at. And feel free to pop in the questions or ask us privately or DM us. And my name is Kelly, and this is Joey. We are very happy to finish off today's webinar sharing with you for Pinery. And on to the next one will be our Vela Bay, right? Vela Bay will be the next project that we'll be talking about, as well as Tengah Residences.
Yes.
So stay tuned for our next episode or next webinar. And then till then, we'll just have a great evening.
See you.
Good night. Good night, Irene, Joshua, Rachel, and the rest. Bye-bye.
Bye.